Since the sovereign debt crisis, the EU has been unable to do anything right. It's showing its true weakness, but with one interest rate, one currency, and a large number of countries sharing them, what did you expect? Today we see the failures of the creation of the technocratic elite. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we are going to look at what's happening in Europe. I want to talk about oil, I want to talk about other commodities, and so much more. Let's get into it right away. The countries with the heaviest tax burdens. If there's one thing that I will be very upfront about is that I hate taxes. I hate every single tax, particularly on income taxes. But those in Denmark, my friends in Denmark, I need you to speak up about this. This is insane. France, same thing. Sweden, same thing. Now, when you look at areas like Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, I hear a lot of good things. I hear a lot of reports that people are generally very happy. Nobody's ever going to be, happy about every decision that every government makes and everything that's happening in their country at all times. I mean, that's ridiculous. But I generally hear, people are doing well there. People are making a lot of money in general. There's a good, strong middle class, low unemployment. I hear some good news coming out of all of these countries. Things are changing, definitely, but hey, look at the situation in other parts of Europe as an example. And they're doing a lot better, that's for sure. But taxation is never a good thing. If you want long-term success, ultimately you have to increase prosperity. And if you want to ruin that prosperity, the number one thing is to increase your tax burden. So hopefully there will be a trend in the future of reduction of taxes. That would be a solution. People are always looking for solutions. Well, hey, I would like to see less taxation. I think ultimately the burden on people would be taken off. They can then invest and buy things that they want, that they deem is good, instead of just funneling your money through an organization, an institution, and then you get pennies on the dollar back. Europe relies on taxes. Top 10 OECD countries with the highest tax to GDP ratios in 2016. Again, you're seeing Denmark and France at the top of the list. That's not a good thing, of course, because ultimately, the more taxes you put on a particular country, the less they have to spend. So what the country is basically doing is, let us manage it. We know better. That's the way it goes. I think that's a big mistake here. And ultimately, that seems to be the direction that many countries are going. Looking at different areas of Europe, I wanted to show you the unemployment rate. And you will see that Greece is at a 21% unemployment rate as of 2018. Spain, not much better off. I mean, 16.3%. Italy is at 11%, and so on. Compare that to Germany, 3.6% unemployment. And remember that all these numbers are going to be fraudulent anyway, so I'm sure they're much higher. Youth unemployment is an absolute disaster. Whether we're looking at Greece, Spain, and Italy, we're looking at 30+% youth unemployment. How in the world are we ever going to get into a better situation if there's so much unemployment, so much tax, so much burden upon people? We need to make change. Which companies have the most tax havens? Ultimately, you can see the financial companies here clearly having insane amounts of tax havens. They don't really break it down exactly into where the tax havens are, but ultimately, I've seen, whether it's Panama, whether it is Puerto Rico, even sometimes we're looking at Luxembourg in Europe. We can see all the Caribbean being used as that, whether it's Cayman Islands or anywhere else. So Goldman Sachs on top of the list. They're very clear, very evident. Okay, moving on. Crude oil net positioning. I want to show you this because right now at this time you could see crude is obviously rising and rising to new highs all the time. It was subdued for quite some time, moving around that $30 a barrel. But as time has gone on, we have seen a reversal of all of that, even though I'm constantly seeing news about this, too much in the inventories and the price will come down, and then a week later everything seems to have changed. What I definitely have noticed is the gas prices and the oil. So we have oil prices rising in this direction, but we have gas prices rising in this direction, and that's not a good thing. I mean, I'm noticing that in Canada, but I know that I did a video about it not that long ago, asking people all over the world about gas prices, and they have risen dramatically as well. The prices that people pay in certain parts of Europe, for example, is truly insane. Okay? The amount of people that are going long on oil is actually starting to be worrisome now. Now, the price itself is not as high as it once was, but the amount of people that are going into crude oil on the long front here is starting to get a little worrisome. You could see this, I thought was interesting. They have the Bloomberg grains sub-index, and you could see where grains have gone over the last 1 month, increasing here. And this brings me into my next article, next chart. I'm going to show you two things. Bumpy ride. Grain volatility picks up amid China-US trade tensions rising throughout the year. That's their volatility. Okay, but I want to show you this. The world's biggest oilseed processor just confirmed one of the soybean market's biggest fears. China has essentially stopped buying U.S. supplies amid the trade issues. Whatever they're buying, it's not U.S. They're buying beans in Canada, Brazil, very deliberately not buying anything from the U.S. That's a big change, because one of the major exports that we see is soybeans going from the US into China. They cannot actually produce enough for their own country. They have to be importing, as they do with other things as well. They're huge consumers of everything these days, and they were doing so from the US. But now they're starting to wean off of that and look into places like Brazil, like Canada, and other countries. So it's not just, holding US debt. There's the exports coming out of the US, and that's going to make a big, big difference, I assure you. Not good for the deficit. Trading data for various crude oil futures contracts for September 2018 delivery. What I wanted to note by this is talking about the crude oil. You can see the WTI, the Brent, and I want to compare that to the Shanghai. In terms of volume, going from March to April, we're at 30,000, okay? 30,000 for the Chinese trade that's happening here in crude, and it's not that significantly further behind WTI. This has just begun, okay? It's just begun. We're only at the beginning. But look at this. If we're already moving into that volume and it just opened up, imagine what it will look like next year, 5 years, 10 years from now. This could be the completely opposite scenario. So I wanted to bring that to you because there's a lot of naysayers saying, oh, no, don't worry about it. No, China's nothing, and they're just small potatoes or whatever. Maybe, but where will it be in due time? Now, this is global spending on this topic here. Just wanted to bring it to you quickly. Show you the fact that this continues to increase all the time. You could bring this chart back as far as you want. But the amount that the US spends and the amount that we are seeing globally being spent on this wasteful garbage is truly saddening, because there are people out there that are starving. There are issues that need to be dealt with in our own countries, and yet we are spending money on this, wasting it, and ultimately you know what it gets used for. Really sad, and I'm just speaking up against it. That's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up. When you give me a thumbs up, it helps to support this channel, so I do appreciate that very much. All you need to do, click that button, and of course, don't forget to subscribe. Over 100,000 people on this channel. I want you to be one of those, so hit that subscribe button. Join me here. If you found the video informative, I know you'll find my books, The Money GPS, and my newer release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. You can actually flip through these books at Amazon. There are links in the description below. Take care.